now we are going to set up a process whereby sellers can be able to create product for sale. To do that, we are going to create controller, which is going to be product controller. So this controller is going to be in sellers folder. You can place it anywhere. Then the name of the controller is going to be product controller. So now inside the seller template, we have product folder. Then in the controllers, we also have the product controller created. So we can now change the name of this file to new, because we are going to be creating new product. Same things we have here, that is what we are going to have here. All right, so now we have this set up. So now let's try to log in. So let's try to log out from this user. Now we can log in as seller. So you can see we have an account created, which is seller@example.com. So now we have logged in as seller. So we need to access seller product. So let's add new. That means we want to create a new product. So this is going to be new seller product, like this. So I'm going to access this route. So now you can see no route, seller product new. So why we're having this is because in the controller here, we have to update it to this. So seller product new. Let's refresh this. So here you can see unable to load seller new HTML.twig. So we need to also amend this. So the name of the folder is seller, and inside there is product. Then we have new. All right, so now we have the page loaded successfully. So in this page, next thing we are going to do is we are going to create a form that is going to be loaded in this particular page. So that means we have to go to the terminal. We will create form. The name of the form is going to be product type. So the entity is going to be product entity. So this is now going to fetch the inputs for us. So you can see we have name, we have description of the product, we have price, then we have the image. So image, we can rename it to something like image file. All right, then we have created art. Created art is going to be by default, so we need to remove created art. Next things to do here is we are going to mention the types of the input. So we are going to have type text type, this is text area type, because we are going to write description. For price, we are going to use integer type. Then for the file, we are going to use file type. All right, so now we have the fields that we need. For the image type, we are going to have some options. The first option is going to be mapped. We will have required. So anytime you want a field to be required, so you are going to use required like this. So this is going to be false. That means it's not necessary, but you can make your own to be necessary if you want. Then we have constraint. So for constraint, we are going to use new assert. That's the maximum file. So here we specify the size. So that's maximum size is going to be 2M. That's 2 megabyte. So we need to import this as we did for the other forms. So let's copy this. All right, so that's all we need on this form. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to design the new product page. So we'll go to this. We need to remove all this. Next, we are going to create a div. So this div is going to have some class, which is Tailwind CSS class. So we are going to add it up. Then we are going to have a header. That's add product head, something like this. All right. So have add product. That's the header. This is the styling that you are going to add. I'll refresh this. All right. So after this, next we are going to have form. So have form start. So same way we have form start, we always have form end. So we're going to end it off. All right, so in here we are now going to have the inputs. So this is going to be something like this. So in the input we are going to have form level, which is going to be form name. So form.name. And after this, we are going to add widget. All right. So that's going to be the input. So this is how you can be creating the Symfony forms. We have many methods that you can be able to be creating with. So there's going to be CSS, which is our Tailwind CSS class. So we add it up like this. Okay. So now we have one input. I'm going to refresh this. Okay. So here you can see variable form does not exist. So why we do this, this is to remind us that in the product here, we are going to pass a lot of things. All right. So for we to get the form completed, we need to complete this part. So we have to stop here. In the next lecture, we are going to complete the remaining part. That is for the controller. So see you in the next lecture. All right. In this lecture, we are going to continue with the product form. So before we do that, there is what we call butter, because before somebody can be able to create product, that person is supposed to be seller. So we have different kind of users. We have admin, we have customers. So we are going to create voter. So let's try to understand what the voter is. This voter is responsible for deciding whether a user can access seller specific functionality. It is used by Symfony Security system to grant or deny access based on custom business logic. We are going to create a voter. We can give it a name of seller voter. It's just a custom permission name. So example, this is going to be, so we're just going to create the voter, which is going to be meant for the sellers. Therefore, the system will check to see if person have a role of seller or not. So to create a voter, we are going to use this command. Seller voter like this. So hit enter. So this have created a folder in the source directory, security. Then inside security there is voter folder. Then there is the file, which is this seller voter. So we are going to customize it. We need to remove everything from here. So now we are going to add our own information. So we are going to create a custom permission name. All right. So we are going to give it a name of seller access. So we use protected. So it is going to return access like this. Okay. So after this, next we are going to create the core logic that decide if access should be granted. So this is going to be done below here. So this is going to be bought on attribute. All right, so we need all this. Then after that, inside here, we are now going to get the current authenticated user. And after that, we can now check if the user is not logged in or not a valid user object. So it will deny access. So we use if. So it will automatically return false. Then after that, we are now going to, this is going to be admin bypass. So if the user has role admin, it automatically grant access. So admin can be able to bypass this. So to do that, we are going to so that means admin can also have this role of user, can also be able to access this seller dashboard. All right, so after this, we can now return true. So next, we can now check apart from admin, so person must be user. So if the user does not have seller role, then it is not going to deny access. So this is how we can do it. So this is going to be role false. So that means it is going to return false. Next, we are now going to get the seller profile associated with the user, since we can have many sellers. So we'll now get the particular seller profile. So this is going to be get seller profile. So after this, the seller must exist and must be verified. Then the seller profile must not be null. Seller profile must seller must be verified. All right. So that's the business rule. So it depends if this is how you want to actualize it. So that's what we are going to do now. So we can say return seller profile not null. And seller profile is verified. So because admin is going to be verifying the sellers. So this is how you can create voter. All right. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. Now we are going to complete the product creation process. So in here, in this function, we are going to pass 3 parameters. So request for the form, then we are going to have entity manager, then we are going to have sluggable. That means if the product name is going to be 2 words, so it's going to add slug between them, that is hyphen. So we have these items. Next here, we are going to ensure only users with the seller role can be able to create the product. So we are going to access the voter. Deny access or less granted. So this is going to be seller access. All right, so after this, we are now going to create a new product entity instance. So call it product. So this is going to be product entity. Then we are going to create and bind the form to the new product. So we are going to create a variable called form. So the form is going to be product type. Now we can complete this part. So we can now say form and the request. So the request is going to be the request like this. Next, we'll check if the form submitted was valid or not. So So now let's try to complete the remaining part. So first we have to retrieve the uploaded image. All right. So the uploaded image file, we have to retrieve it. So we are going to use this variable. So image file is equals to form.get. So we rename it as image file the other time, that is in the form. Next, we'll now use the if statement to extract the file without extension. That means if there is image, because we put it as condition, it can be null. So we need to extract the file name. We store the file name in this variable called original name. All right, so this is going to get the name for us. So when we get the name, later we are now going to convert the file name to a safe slug format. So to do that, we can create a variable. We call it safe. That's safe name. After that, we are going to generate unique file name to avoid duplication. We are going to use unique ID. So all this is just to make sure that the file is unique. So we'll now get the extension. All right, so after we do this, next we are going to move the file to the configured product images directory. So we are going to configure the directory, but let's now create the functionality. So we are going to have a parameter which is going to be images directory like this. File name. Make sure you put semicolon at the end here. All right, so this we need to set up this parameter. So to set it off, this is what we are going to do. But first of all, let's complete this part. We are going to store the new image file in the product entity. So we'll say product set image. It should be set image. Then we are now going to save the file name like this. All right. So we need to create this parameter. So to create it, you need to go to config, then services, this parameter here. So you come down, use tab. So the name, same name you give here, that's what you are going to use. So make sure that you do not make mistake, something like this. Then you now add up the parameter. So you use kernel. Dot say project directory. So this is going to be in public folder. Then inside there is going to be another folder called offloads. Then we are going to have product. So now we have set off that successfully. So now we are going to assign the current logged in user as the seller. So to do that, we are going to come down here. All right, so after this, we can now be able to set creation timestamp. That means the time that the product is created. We are going to persist the new product to the database. So we use entity manager interface. After this, we are going to use flush. That's the last stage of the persisting to the database. So doing this, now we can be able to redirect to the dashboard. All right, so we can be able to redirect back to the seller's dashboard. So to do that, we are going to use return. So if you can remember, the name of the route is seller dashboard. So here we don't have set seller, create a relationship between the product and seller. So to do that, so the field that we are going to add is going to be seller, like this. This is going to be relation related to user. So the relationship is going to be many to one because one seller can be able to have many products. So we use many to one. So now let's try to check this. You can see we have seller. So we can check down for the getters and setters. You can see we have set seller, we have get seller. Likewise in the product here, we don't have error anymore. So to complete this up, we have to say Symfony. That means to update the schema. For the changes that we have just done now. Alright, so this is done successfully. So now we are through with the product controller. So the next thing that we are going to do is we can now pass the form, that is this particular form, because we need it. So we are going to pass it to the page. Therefore, we can finish creating the form. All right, so that's cool. We can now refresh this. So we're going to log in as seller. So we are in the seller dashboard. So let's try to access the dashboard. we have already logged in successfully. So let's just copy this. Why we are seeing this is in the dashboard. This is the seller dashboard. So we'll try to access it like this. So it says action denied, access denied. All right. So why is it saying access denied? Let's check in the seller profile. You can see the seller is not verified. So it is now denying the access. So now you can see the butter is working perfectly. So how can we manage this? Therefore, it is now going to show a very nice message. So to do that, we are going to the security file. So this is security. So in the security here, this is access control. So same line with this access control, we are now going to check on access deny URL. So you are going to say access denied URL like this, which is going to be /seller then /pending like this. So instead of showing this message this time around, it's now going to work with this. So to do that, what we are going to do is we have to implement that. So let's do that in the seller dashboard. This is going to be seller /pending. So let's go to the dashboard. So I'm going to copy this, paste it here. So we can call this deny. That's the name of the function. Then the URL is going to be this. So the name is going to be seller deny. Okay. So I'm not passing any information. So we need seller dashboard. This time around, inside the dashboard, we are going to add, let's check the template. This is seller. So in here, in the seller, we can now add, not in the dashboard, so we can call it deny like this. So we need to create this tweak template. So in the seller, we are going to create this template like this. So in here, we can just type anything for now. Later on, we can redesign it. You can design it based on how you want it to look like. Or we can say access deny. So I have a template that I can paste there. Therefore, you can be able to use it. So this is it here. I will explain it. So this is the title. Then in here we have a div. So this particular div, I have the closing of it below. Then we are going to use an icon. So this icon is also from Symfony UI. We are going to install the icon. We are going to install the Symfony UI UX, all right? Then after that, this is just a simple title. We have alert. So after that, we are now going to show this message. Your seller account is under review. You will be notified once approved. Then it will now redirect to home page. All right. When you click on back like this. So to to install this icon in the UX, this is what you do. Come to the UX here. I will duplicate this. So this is icons. So to use the icon, this is how you are going to do. You first of all install this composer requires Symfony UX icons. Alright, so the icon is added. Then after that, next, if you want to search for icon, or you can just come, the one I used in the code here, in this particular file, you can see is Lucid Shield Alert. Alright, so that's for alert. So this is what you are going to do. You can check the categories. So I use Lucid, you click on it. And after that, you can type alert. So you can see all of them. So you can just select the one that you want to use. Alright, so let's say you want to use this particular one. This, you click on it, you can see. So you can now copy the component. This is the component here. So if I copy it the way it is, I'll come back, then I will now paste it here. You can see that's the same component. So after that, this is alert that is from the shadcn. So we have to get it. You go to toolkit, then in the shadcn, this is alert. Then in the alert, you install the alert. So I'm going to copy it. We can now install it. You can see the alert is installed successfully. I'll copy this also to install it. That's if it is not installed. So that's installed. Then next in the code, that's the only thing we need. We have alert. So all these are alert. Alert have title. It also have description. So that's all. Now let's try to reload this page. Yes, you can see this is now showing the deny. That means the configuration we made in the security.yml is working perfectly. All right. So if you want to see it at the center, same things we did for the other files. So this is what we are going to do. You can go to the template. So you can just copy this. So now let's try to reload this. You can see it is at the center. So now this is set off successfully. Here we have come to the end of this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to create public site header. To do that, in the template folder, we are going to create a new folder which is going to be called partials. Inside, we are going to create two files. The first file is going to be underscore header.html.twig. Then we are going to create the second one, which is footer. So we are going to focus on the header. So first we need a div. This div have some class, which is Tailwind CSS style. So I'm going to paste it here. Then inside we are going to have, we can do it this way. We are going to have header here. So inside this, we are now going to have the div. This also have some CSS class like this. So in here, we can now be able to have the logo. So the name, we are going to use anchor tag. So this is going to be marketplace. We can call it any name like this. So now let's try to add it off inside the base.html. Therefore, we can be able to be seeing the update that we are doing. So to do that, you need to go to base. In here, at the top, we can now be able to include it. So we need to mention the template. So the template is inside partials. All right, so here you just leave it the way it is like this. So now let's try to refresh this. Yes, you can see we have the header added for us. So now let's continue adding the items on the header. This is supposed to be linked to this, to the home page. All right, so we need to add the link. All right, so now when you refresh, you can see the text is going to be bold. All right, so we have some little thing because this name home, that's the route. So we need to confirm the route, how we created it. So this is the name, app home. That's what we are going to use. All right, so we are done with this. Next, we are going to create some navigations that is along this way. So to do that, we are going to come down here. So the navigation will have a class something like this: Plex, then item center, gav6, then text mode. All right. So in there, we are now going to. Okay, so now let's add the links. So we are going to have dashboard. So I'm going to copy all this, therefore we can work on it. Next, we are going to have another link, which is going to be login. All right, so now if I may refresh this, you can see we have the links here. So we want a situation where it will only show dashboard if user is logged in. If user is not logged in, then it's supposed to show login, register as customer or register as seller. So let's do that. So to hide this link, if the person is not logged in, so we are now going to use this. So we use if. We need to pass the condition. So the condition is app.user. So when you use this, you are now trying to say that if the person is logged in. Here, you now end the if. So I'm going to cut this and place it here like this. And after this, I can also, this is now going to be else. So we are supposed to have else. So the else is now going to be this. So this is it. If person is logged in, it's going to show dashboard. Else is going to show login, register as customer, and register as seller. So if I now refresh this, you can see as I'm not logged in, so it is only showing this. So now we are going to add up some few more informations. That is this href. We now need to link them together. So we are going to specify the path. So this is going to be dashboard. Then after that, next, this particular one, which is going to be login. So I'm going to copy this, then paste it and change it. So this is going to be login. Register customer. And register seller. So we will refresh to make sure that we did not leave anything behind. All right. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to create the footer. So to do that, we'll come down here. In here, we are going to use footer tag like this. Then we have the closing. So this footer is going to have some class, that's Tailwind CSS class. All right, so this is just a simple styling. You can add your own style. I'm just trying to place it. So this is it here. So we can now do same things we did this time around. This is going to be below this particular place. So we are going to refresh the page. This will be footer. So this is the footer here. All right. So now, if we like, we can have the current year. All right. So to do that, this is what we are going to do. So let's have some class here. This is for copyright icon. Then after that, we are now going to add the year. Right, so this is going to give us the current year. So let's refresh this. Yes, so we have everything in place now. All right, so now you can see here the footer is a little bit up. We want it to be at the bottom. So to do that, by default, we have to make some changes here. So here, before the background, you can add something like this. Then you now say plex. Then you say plex column, like this. All right. So after you do this, you can now come back to the footer. Here, you change it to auto, like this. So now let's refresh this. Yes, you can see it at the bottom. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. All right. In this lecture, we are going to learn how to create command. So the command that we are going to create is going to be used to create and seed admin user details. All right. When you come to the database here, you can see that we have only two users, which is seller and customer. And these users can register through registration form. So we want a situation where, so because we want to log in as admin, so we need admin information. So we're going to use the command to insert and seed the data into the database for the admin to log in. So to create a command, we are going to use this command. So we are going to now give it a name. So the name that we're going to give it is going to be create admin user command. So that is the name of the command. So let's hit enter. So the command is created. You can check inside source folder. There is another folder created, which is command, and the file is inside. So we can go to the source. This is the source folder. Then there is command folder. Then inside there is this file, which is created for us. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. So now, after creating the command, we are now going to configure this command with the purpose of seeding the data into the database. This is the default name of the command. We can leave it the way it is. Next, we can now add the description. So we can change the description to reflect what we are creating it for. After this, we are now going to work on this constructor. So we need to pass some argument. You have to import the entity manager interface. Next, you are going to import the user password hasher, and this is how you are going to import it. So we are going to use this particular one, which is Doctrine entity, to save user into the database, while this particular one is Symfony service for hashing password, because we are going to type the password in plain picture in the terminal, so it is going to be hashed. All right, so after this, next we are now going to configure the command. So to do that, it's going to be done here. So here there is the argument. We are going to delete this. So first here we are going to pass email. That's the first argument that we are going to pass. Then after that, it's not going to be optional. This is going to be required. So we need to type required. Then the description of it is going to be admin email. So we can copy this and paste it for the password. This is also required. Then this is going to be admin password. All right, so now we are done with this. Next, we are going to work on this method. So this method runs when the command is executed. So we have to work on it. So to understand it fully, we are going to delete everything from here. Next, we are going to get the argument values from the command, because the command will ask you for the email and also the password. Same things we do here, we are going to do for the password also. All right, so after this, next we are going to check if a user with the same email exists or not. So that means there is not going to be duplication of email. So let's create a variable to hold the existing email. So the repository is going to be user repository. Which is going to be find one by, so we are going to find by email, because that's what we are going to use to make sure that we don't have duplicate emails. So the email is going to be the email that we supplied from the terminal. So this need to be in square bracket like this. user, you need to import it. That's user entity. So now we are going to use if statement to check. So the condition is going to be existing. That means if we have the existing email. So if there is email, then we need to write a message on the console. So you can just put any statement, but you can also use error like this. So we say error user with this email already exists. Next, we are going to return. That means we are going to return the failure status. So we use this return. All right, so that's this. Then after that, if everything went well, we don't have duplicate email. So we are now going to create a new user object. So let's use variable user to get the object from user entity. Next, we are going to set email. That is from the email that we have wrote inside the command. Now we are going to set role. So the role, now we are going to add the role we want to set, which is going to be role admin. After this, we are going to set active, which is going to be active automatically. So set is active. It is boolean, so we are going to use true. Next, we are going to set created at. So we are going to use date time immutable like this. So now we have set the user object. Next, before we save to the database, we are going to hash the plain password. All right, because we have already typed plain password from the command, that's from the terminal. So let's create a variable first. Hashed password is equals to all right. So that is this password that we have just created. So now we are going to set the password to this hashed password. All right, so after we do this, next we are going to tell Doctrine we want to save this user. So we use this. Persist like this. So what we are persisting is going to be the user. After this, we are now going to execute the SQL. So we use this. Then we use flush. So when we have saved the information, we are now going to use output for the success message. So we use output. This output, this is it here. It comes by default, that is output interface. All right. So output right line. So this time around, we are going to use it as info, not error. So make sure that you have semicolon at the end. Then next, we are going to return success code. All right. So all right, now we have successfully configured the command. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. So now in this lecture, we are going to execute the command. Therefore, we can have the admin user information seeded. To do that, we are going to use Symfony console. So next, we have to call the name of this command that we have just created. This is it here. So let's copy it. So after this, we have argument that we need to pass. So if I do not pass the argument, let's say I hit enter, you can see it is telling me that we are missing 2 items, all right, which is email and password. So now let's pass the email. So let's use admin@example.com. The password is going to be admin1234, like this. Then you hit enter. So you can see admin user created successfully. Now let's try to check the database. You can see we have admin@example.com with the role admin, and is active by default with the password hashed. So now let's try to log in. So before we log in, if I click on marketplace here, you can see we are back to the home page. So now let's click on login. So in the login, we have admin@example.com. Then the password we use admin1234. So hit enter. Yes, you can see we are able to log in as admin. All right. Then I want you to check something in the header. So let's come to partials, then header. So in here, this double quotes, the closing of this href, we made mistake. So you need to remove one from here. So now you have class with opening double quote and closing. Then also this, you need to close the double quote here. All right. So now we are done with everything. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. Now we are going to work on the seller's dashboard. So I have logged in as a seller. You can see the dashboard is loaded. So we are now going to replace this view with the template of the seller. So I'm going to attach template where you can download in this particular lecture. So we are now going to start. So we need to go to the code. So here we have seller. Then inside the seller, we have dashboard. Then we have index. So that is responsible for showing the current content of the page. That is this particular content. So we are going to replace it. So first of all, we need to create a layout file in this particular folder. So let's create a file inside the dashboard. So this dashboard, we're now going to paste the template. So I'm going to add up the template for you to also use. So I'm going to paste it here. So this is how the template is going to look like. So now as we added it, next thing to do is we are now going to make sure that when we refresh this particular dashboard, that template is loaded. This is extending the base.html.twig. That is our base file, this particular one. All right. So now in the index, we are not going to use the base.html.twig. Rather, we are now going to use our own layout file. So we are going to extend inside the seller dashboard, inside the dashboard folder. Then the name of the file, we are going to add it up here. All right, so this is what we are going to extend. So in here, when you now take a look at the layout, at the bottom of it here, you can see we have main. All right, so now to link it off in this main, you are now going to add this. So the block name, we can name it anything, but let's name it as seller content. So that is all we need. So next thing to do is you can now come back to the index here. So in the index, now you can see instead of you to use body, you are now going to use this seller content. So we are going to copy it and paste it here. All right. So now this is going to contain the content. All right. So this styling, we don't need it. We just need to get rid of it. So this is the only thing we have now. So now let's go to the page. We can now refresh this page. Yes, so you can see we have extended the template, and this is going to be showing all the content of our navigations. All right, so when we click on dashboard, we're supposed to see something here. When we click on product, we're also supposed to see something here. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. See you in the next lecture. In this lecture, we are going to work with this dashboard. So when we want a situation whereby when a seller click on dashboard, this dashboard is now going to display the summary of all his activities. So to do that, what we are going to do is we need to go to the template. So in the template, this is the layout. So here you can see we have the dashboard. All right, but currently the dashboard is expecting a route, so we need to link a route in this href. So to do that, we already have a route that is linked to the seller's dashboard. So this is it. Let's come to the dashboard here. You can see we have this route, so let's copy it. So we can now go back. So in here, we are now going to link it to that particular path. So let's do it this way. So in here, we are now going to mention, or rather let's use paths. So this is now going to be the route of this particular dashboard. All right, so now we can refresh the page. I'll click on it. You can see we're already in the dashboard, and it is also indicating at the bottom of your screen. All right, so let's go back. So now next thing to do is we can now start customizing this. So I'm also going to share the template of this particular field. All right. So first thing to do is we are going to add a div. So let me remove this content. So we'll use some Tailwind CSS styling here. All right. So now let's add a banner. So it's also there in the template. So I'm going to paste it here. All right. So let's refresh this. So you can see we're supposed to see something like this. All right. So after doing this, now we are going to add a statistic card. So let's create the div for the card. So this statistic card will suppose have some styling. So we are going to add the style. All right. So this is what we need. Okay. So now we are going to be displaying the items one after the other. So when you come back to here, you refresh, you are not going to see anything yet. So next lecture, we are now going to deal with how we can get the list of the product that belongs to this particular seller. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to work on the product statistic. So we need to get the list of the product and display it first on the seller's dashboard. That means the count of the product for that particular seller. So to do that, we are now going to the controller. So in the dashboard controller, we need to get that. So now let's work on the dashboard controller. So in here, we have to change the way this particular function works. So here we are now going to create some parameters. So let's try to add the product repository. So make sure you import it. So create the instance variable. We can call it product repository like this. So that's the first stage. The next stage in the response, here we have to make sure that we restrict the user to be only the seller. So say this. So you can say deny access or less granted. So we need to mention the particular user. So this is going to be role seller. So now let's try to refresh the page again. So on these changes that we have just made, it makes sure that the user is seller. All right. So now let's go back. Next is we are now going to get the user. So now let's try to get the seller's product. So we can now create a variable. We call it product. So we are now going to find by a criteria. So let's place the criteria. So this is going to be seller. Then the seller is going to be this particular user that is logged in. So it have to confirm that. So after confirming that, now let's try to get the total product. That means to know how many product we have. So we have total product. Let's just create a variable. We call it total product. So this is going to be count. So what we are counting the product. So let's add the product here. So this is now going to give us chance to know the total product. All right. So after we do this, now let's pass this into the front end. So we're going to get rid of this. You can see total product is now going to be the total product like this. All right, so this is now going to allow us to know the total product. So I'll come back to this. Next thing to do in the template is going to be added. So we're now going to paste. So I'm going to paste this, which is already in the template, but this is not containing all the code. So this is just a template. So we're now going to refresh to make sure that you can see here we have total product, but it's currently empty. So we need to now display the variable that we have just passed from this particular route. All right, so now let's come back to here. So here we're now going to mention the list of the product for this particular user. So for total product, we have to confirm, did we use S? No S. So we can change this maybe to something like products because it's plural. So now let's also add it up here, products like this. All right, so now let's refresh the page. You can see we have 0 product. So that means this user doesn't have any product. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. See you in the next lecture. All right, so now that we've got the product, we are now going to get the statistics of the orders. So we have different kind of orders. So let's start it one after the other. So let's go back to the dashboard. So in the dashboard, we are now going to work with the repository. So let's come down here. So we are going to add order repository. So make sure you import it also. This is it here. This is the product repository. So call it order repository. That's the instance variable. So now before we do anything, we have to try to make sure that we get all the orders in the software, that is in the database. Then after that, we can be able to filter the order to get the ones specifically for that particular seller, that is for the seller that logged in. So let's get all the orders. So we can create a variable, we call it all orders. So we are going to use find all. So this is going to get everything for us. So after that, we can now be able to get the particular orders that belongs to the seller. So let's create a variable again. We call it seller orders. So we're going to use array filter to filter the order. So we need to pass the paste orders, that is all the orders that we got. So this is how you can be able to do the filtering. So we need to pass the user. So here you can now make sure you add semicolon at the end here. So in here we are now going to use loop, all right, to get the order. So let's use for each loop. So I'm going to get it as item like this. So we can now confirm the item that we got by using the conditional statement. So this is now going to make sure that it get only the items that belong to that particular seller. So if it is true, that means there is the items. We have the items for that seller, then it will return true. All right. So else now it is going to return false. So here we can just put it as the final output. That means if there is no item. All right. So now we get all the sellers order. So next thing to do is here we are now going to get all the total orders that is for that particular seller. All right. So we can do it this way because here we just got them all randomly. So we need to count them and store the numbers. All right. So let's create a variable. So we can call it total orders. All right, so this is how we're supposed to do it. So now that we get the total orders, next thing to do is we can now be able to pass it off here also. So let's add comma. So that's what we need. All right. So next we need to also send the variable to the front end. So to do that, let's also go to our template and add off the code. So in your template, you just copy and now paste it below this, all right. So this is what we got currently. So I'm going to refresh the page. So you can see we have the total orders, which is below here. So let's go back so this is our grid. So the code supposed to be inside here. That's the template. All right. So yes, so you can see currently we are only displaying this. So now let's try to add off the count. So same things we do for the total product. So this time around is going to be total orders like this. So refresh. Yes, you can see we have 0. Then for the pending, we did not work on the pending. So we're also going to work on the pending. That is the orders that are still pending. All right. So this is like filtering out of the list of the orders. We now got some that are still pending, not cleared by the admin. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. Now to get the pending orders, all we just need to do is we need to go to the dashboard again. that is the controller. So inside the controller, under this total order, let's create a variable. We call it pending order. That means the orders that are not cleared. So now let's do counting. So same things we do earlier, we are going to filter it using the array filter. Since we are going to filter out of all the orders, so we have to add the seller's order. All right. So this is the function we are going to use. So in here now, we are going to use that same word that we use, which is order. So we can now say get status, right? Because we are dealing with the status of the order. So we'll now check to see, is the status writing something like pending, like this. All right. So that's how we're supposed to do it. And if you can remember, when you go to the, all right, so you can see that status. So that is what we are checking. So now we need to pass this also. So let's add it up below here. Yes. So now this same pending order, we can now pass it. So we can just add it before this pending order here. So let's just add it before it. So let's do this like this. All right. So now let's go back and refresh the page. You can see we have 0 pending. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. See you in the next lecture. So in this lecture, we are now going to count the total revenue of seller. So to do that, as usual, we need to write down the business logic in the controller. So let's come down here. So let's create a variable to handle the amount. So let's call this 0. All right. So now after this, we are going to use loop to check all the orders of that particular seller. From there, we can now be able to know the product in the order and also count the amount by using the price and the quantity of the orders. So let's use loop. So inside, we're also going to loop through the items of the order. All right, because each order have its own order items. So after we do this, we can now use conditional statement to check the user's order. We have to confirm that that's the seller's item. So if we confirm everything, then we can now be able to count the total revenue. So the total revenue now is going to be, we have to use plus equal. We need to first of all get the price. So after we got the price, we can now be able to also get the quantity. We are now multiplying it with the quantity. So this is now going to allow us to get the total revenue. All right, we get the price of each of the item in that particular order, then we now multiply it with the quantity of the items. So after doing this, we can now be able to successfully pass this total revenue into the list of our variables. So here we say total revenue. Like this. So next, we now display the revenue. So this is also coming under this. So in here, we can now be able to add off this particular text, total revenue. All right, so now let's refresh the page. Yes, you can see we have 0 revenue because there is no any order belonging to this particular seller yet. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. See you in the next lecture. In this lecture, we are now going to display the recent orders for this particular seller. So seller can be able to know if there are some recent orders that relate to his product. So to do that, we'll go to the dashboard. So in here, we can now be able to create a variable that will hold the recent order for us. So this is going to, we are going to use array. This time around is going to be slice. So I have to go through the sellers. Then after that, that is seller's order. After that, we are now going to display them. That is the post 10. All right, the last order made. So we just display 10 out of them. So when we do this, we can now be able to get the recent orders. So the same things is just very easy actually. So let's copy this variable. We'll now add it up below here. So now that we are done with this, in the user interface, we want to list them below these statistics. So it is also there in the template. So let's get the template. So from the template, we need to first of all add off the, come down here, this particular one that is below this. So let's minimize this. So come down here and create another div. So in this div, that's where we are now adding the recent order stuffs. Okay, so now you can see if I refresh this, I see no order yet. All right, so we need to make this appear conditionally. So let's use if statement for that. So here, before this, we are going to wrap them inside for loop. So for order in recent orders, that's the variable. So we use slice like this. So this for loop, that is all our code is going inside like this. All right, so now after we use this for loop, next here we are going to use else, right? So next thing to do is we are now going to display the details of the orders. So here we are going to display the ID of the order. So you can use number or just hashtag like this. That means to display the ID of the order. So we are now using this particular item which we use for the looping through the recent orders. So we'll display the ID of the particular order, and after that we can also be able to display when it is created. So this date format, so we need to pass it like this. So make sure you add it off using this format. So it will show month, date, day, and also year. So after this, next we are now going to add the amount. So since it is money, we are going to use number format for it. So the number format is going to be 2. Then in here, we are now going to add the status of the order. Therefore, user can be able to know, the seller can be able to know the status of his order, either is pending or completed. All right, so that's all. So in our own case, we are definitely going to see no orders yet because there is no any order placed yet. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. But before then, let's try to refresh the page to make sure that we do not have any error. So you can see we have recent orders. This is an error. So why we are getting this error is from the dashboard. So when you come here, this I use double S. It's supposed to be single S. So now let's refresh that. Yes, so you can see no order yet. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. See you in the next lecture. All right, to implement this feature, we need to create a method. So let's come down here. So this is going to be, as usual, a public method. So this is going to be called product. So inside there, we are going to use product repository. So in there, we'll create a variable which is going to be product repository. So it can be any name. All right, so above here, we are now going to add up the route. So I'm just going to copy this. Let's call it seller products. Then the name of the route is going to be seller product as well. All right, so After this, we are now going to add the access control. So this is going to be for seller only. Okay, so after this, now let's try to get a user. So we can get a reference variable. So we are now going to use the user. We can say is equals to this. Next, we are now going to get product. So we have to create variable to hold all the products. So this is going to be find by. So we have to mention the criteria. So we are now trying to get the product from this particular user. After that, we are also going to filter it based on when it is created. So created at. So the last one will always be at the top. All right, we don't really need this. We don't need this, so let's just go with this particular one. Then here also for the sending, you have to wrap it with single quote like this. Okay, all right, so next we are going to return the information for the views. So this is going to be this render. So what we are rendering is going to be inside our seller. Then inside the seller, we are going to have dashboard. Then inside there, we are going to have a template called product.html.twig. All right, so now when we get this, we are going to pass this variable into the twig template that we are going to create. So let's create it this way. We'll call it product like this. All right, so now everything is intact. So we have this doesn't have semicolon, so we'll just leave it without any semicolon. So now we are done with the function. Next thing to do is we need to create this template, which is product.html.twig. So let's create it. So I'll come into the list of the templates. This is dashboard, so we are going to create it. We have seller, then dashboard. Inside dashboard, we are now going to create that particular product. So product.html.twig. All right, so now our dashboard is linked to this. So the next thing to do is when we check here, you can see when we click on product here, it doesn't link to any page. So we want it to link to where we are going to see the list of our products. All right, so to do that, we are going to work on the layout. So this is the layout here. So in the layout, we have the first item, which is dashboard. Next, we are now going to link the second one. All right, that is the one that we have just created. So you remember in here, we have created this, which is seller product. So that's what we are going to use. So here, we are going to add the path to that particular route. So that's all we need to do. So let's go back to the page, then we'll refresh it. So come here, we click on product. You can see we are in the seller product, but it is currently empty. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. All right, so in this lecture we are going to display the list of the product for the seller. So before we do that, we need to design this product page. So to design this product page, we need to make some addition to this particular empty file. So first of all, there is the template which is going to be attached to this lecture. So this is it here. So this template, we are now going to use it. So as usual, we are going to extend the seller dashboard layout. So I'm going to paste it here. So after that, in the template, we can now take the title. So can add it below here. All right, so after the title, we are now going to use the seller block, that is the content block. So let's add it below this. So you make sure after you open it, you make sure that you close it. So you can now copy this, you can close it below like this. All right, so now when we come back to this page, we refresh it, you can see we have the dashboard set up for us. So next thing to do is we are now going to add the table and other designs. So you come back to your template, we need an opening tag of a div. So this is it here. So we need to create a div inside, which is going to display all the other things. So we have div, then you now close the div like this. So the div have a class, so we'll copy it like this. We can now use it in here. So inside this div, we are going to have a header. So let me copy this header. These are all designs, so we don't need to bother ourselves on it, so we can just add them up. So this is the header. So come back here, you refresh the page, you can see we have it off. So next is we are going to have a table that is going to be displaying the list of the product for us. So that's what we are going to do. We'll come down here, we'll create another div, we'll close it like this. So inside this div, it also have some class. So let's just copy it like this, we'll paste it. So now we can have some little title on it also. So let's just copy this recent product, we'll now paste it like this. So while you are doing, you make sure that you are checking it out to see the designs you are doing. So after that, we are now going to have a table. So the table will have the opening tag of the table. So that is coming under this particular div. All right, so you can see it under this particular div. So paste it. Below, you close the div also. So in this div, we have the table header. So let's copy it, paste it. So let's come here, we refresh. You can see we have the list of the tables here. All right, so let's check out. There is something that we missed. All right, so this is going to be closing of the table, something like this. All right, so after that, now we can paste the table head inside. So refresh. Yes, we have the table head. So after the table head, next we are going to have the table body. So you have to open the tag of the table body below the table head. Let's close it here like this. All right, so the table body, inside we are going to have rows, so let's just have 2 rows. Okay, so these are the rows. We have this first one. We have the first table row starting from here to here. Then we have the second one. All right, so this is going to be working with the table heads. Okay, so refresh this. You can see we have only one table row there. Then we also have no product yet. Okay, so this information is supposed to be dynamic, because if there is no product, so we are not supposed to see the first table row. So now we are going to work on that. So you come down to this. We are going to use loop to loop through the list of the product that we paged. So we use for. So the name is product in products. So product is the database, is the variable we sent from the controller. You can come to source, controller, seller, then we have dashboard. So this is what we send, product. So that's what we are using at there. So we have product. Okay, so after this, here cut this from here. So this is coming at the end. All right, that is end for. So end for should be before the table body. All right, so now we are going to have 2 conditions. If there is product, then it will display this table row. It will loop no matter how many products we have. Else it will display this. So we need to add the else below here like this. So that's how you add it, else like this. Okay, so now our design will work perfectly. Okay, so when we go back to there now, you press, you can see it only shows no product. All right, so if there is a product here, you can see we already looped through the product. This should be for product, not products. All right, so in here we are going to have product name. We are also going to have image. So though we did not start using the image yet, so here we are going to have product name. So after product name, we are also going to have the product price. So here after that, we are now going to have we have name, we have price. So these are enough. So for the image, we can also be able to get the image from the products. All right, so for now we can leave it empty. When we upload the product, then we can now come and align it here. All right, so now let's refresh. When we refresh, you can't see anything because we don't have any products yet. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. See you in the next lecture. All right, so now we are going to implement the addition of product into the database. So to do that, we need to work on the business logic in the dashboard. So let's go to dashboard controller. This is the dashboard controller. So in here, we are going to create the function for that. So we can call it new product. So in here, we are going to have a request because we are going to send some information from form. So this is it here. We are going to have request. This is how you are going to import the request. So this request is going to have a variable. So let's call it request. Then after that, we are going to have entity manager interface. So let's call it EM. And after this, we are going to have sluggable. So that's slugger interface. So this is going to allow while we are trying to rename the product. So it is going to add some slugs into the between the product. That is while creating the names. Okay, so now we'll come down here. Next thing is we are just going to give it a route name. So this is going to be seller product new, like this. Then the name, we can say product new also, like this. All right. So after this, we can now add up the page that's going to be allowing us to have the new product. So let's do it this way. We'll return the page. So we can say new.html.tweak. So that's going to be the name of the page. Let's come down here. You remember we used to add dashboard. So let's just separate this to product. So we are going to have a directory product. Then inside there, we are now going to have we are going to have the page that we can create new product. So you come down here in the seller, we already have product. So this is product, then new. All right. So we created this particular page initially. So that's what we are going to use actually. So this is how we are going to leave it for now. We are going to work on it properly. So now here, what we are going to do next is we are going to make this particular link active, that is add product, this particular one. So this is very easy. We always do it. We have been doing it before. So let's come down here. So in here, we just need to add it up. So we are now going to add the name of the route, which is this. So that's what we need for now. So let's now refresh the dashboard. So click on this. All right, so you can see it is showing us form does not exist. We don't have any form right now. So we need to work on this. So let's come to the product new. I'm going to remove this form. So this is going to make it very easy to understand. So this is what we have. So after this, we have to also make sure that we are using same layout. So we need to copy this layout exactly the way it is. Then here also we are using seller content. So that's what we are going to use here. Then in here, we can just say seller add new product. like this. Okay, so now let's refresh the page. Yes, so here we have come to the end of this lecture. All right, so now we are going to complete the remaining controller code, that is all the logics we need for the creation of new product. So let's ensure that we only have the user is seller, so as we always do. So we are going to protect this particular page also. All right, now we are going to create a new product entity instance. So let's create it like this. We can call it product. So this is going to be from our product entity. So we are going to create and bind the form to the new product. So let's create this variable form. So remember we created form before, which is product type. So I'm going to use the class. Then next we are going to use this form entity, that is the instance variable. So this product type is from our form here, product. This is the product type. All right, we have already created that before. So after this, now we are going to use the form variable. So this is going to handle the request. So next we are going to check if the form that we submitted is valid. All right, so we are going to use if statement for that. So if it is submitted and if it is valid, so now we are going to execute this. So first of all, we need to retrieve the uploaded image file from the form. So let's create this variable image file. All right, so after that, let's try to confirm if the image file is there. So we have to extract the original file name. So we use this original. So this is how you are going to do. We use fat info. So in there we are going to say image file. Then after that, here we are now going to use the fat info. So this should be fat info underscore file name like this. So this is going to allow us to get the original name, all right, of that particular image. That is without the extension. So after that, we are going to convert the file name to a safe slug format. You already remember that we use slugger interface here. So let's come down here. So if let's say the name of the product is going to be a combination of two words and there's space between them, so slugger is going to take care of that. And after that, we are going to generate a unique file name to avoid duplication. So let's say file name. So this is dash. Then here we are going to concatenate it. So you just use dot. Here also use another dot like this. All right. So after that, you are now going to use unique. So we are going to add a unique ID. So after that, we are going to also concatenate again with dot between them like this. So we are now going to get the extension of the image. So this is going to make the file name to be special. All right, so now we have this. All right, so next we are going to move the uploaded file to the configured product image directory. So we are going to have an image directory, maybe in the public folder. So it depends on where we want to put it. So let's do this. We say image file, move. So get parameter. So we are going to have this parameter products, then image, then directory. So we are going to, I'll show you how you can add up this parameter. Then come down here. We are now going to put the file name like this. So make sure here you have semicolon like this. All right. So after this, the last thing we are going to do for this if statement is we are going to store the new image file in the product entity. So we say product set image. So the image is now going to be the file name like this. So now this product image directory, we need to configure it. So you come to the configuration. This is services. We already created the product image directory, so we don't need to do anything. So now let's complete the business logic. So here we are done with this if statement. We're also done with this. So next thing to do is you come down here inside this same if statement, that is the first one. So we are now going to assign the current logged in user as the seller. So we are going to say product set seller like this. So this is going to be seller dot get user, that is the current logged in user. All right, so after this we can now set creation timestamp, that is when it is created. So say product set created at. So we need to use new, something like this. Date time immutable, like this. All right. So after this, we are now going to persist the new product to the database. So that's where our EM, that is entity manager, comes in hand. So we'll say persist. What we are persisting is the product. So here you should not forget, we have to add this way. All right, so after persisting, we can flush also. So let's do it like this. All right, so after we do this, we are now going to redirect seller to dashboard after the successful creation. So it will now redirect the seller to dashboard. So you can redirect it to either the form or list of the product or the main dashboard. So let's redirect it to the dashboard. You just need to change the route. So we're going to say redirect to route. So we need to mention the route. Seller dashboard, like this. So this is it here. You come down. This is the dashboard. That's where we are redirecting it to. So that's all about this. Next thing to do is we already created form, so we need to use this particular form in the page. So currently the page is empty. We need to use the form here. So to do that, we are going to first of all pass it from here. So put comma, then you put square. So here we can say form. That's the name we want to pass. So here we are going to say form create view. So this is going to create the view of that particular form. All right, so here we have come to the end of this lecture. All right, so now we are going to work on the form, therefore we can be able to display it properly in the page. So this is where we stopped the other time. So here we are now going to include the form. So here we are going to have form start. So let's do it this way. So we have form start like this. So this is going to have some attribute, that is the class, the style we are going to use. So this is how we add it off. So we are going to have a class, which is our normal Tailwind CSS class. So whenever you have the form start, you have to get the form end at the bottom. So we use form end like this. All right, so now we have this. Next thing to do is we are going to have some labels of the form. So I'm going to do div. I'll close the div below. So the first one is going to be the level of the form. So we say form level like this. So we have form.name. Then we are going to have the widget. So form widget. So this is going to be form.name also. So this is just very easy to add it off using Symfony form. So we can now include the attribute. So in here we are going to have class. Alright, so let's refresh this to make sure that we are working well. So here I'm seeing some issue. Yes, your seller account is under review, so will be notified once approved. So this is something we are getting. So let's try to confirm that. So we need to first of all go to the dashboard. So let's try to check the database first. So in here we have the list of the users. So we are logged in with this user, example seller@example.com. Let's try to check the seller profile. So verified is 0. You can see, so that means admin did not verify this seller yet. So that is why we are getting this. You can see your seller account is under review. All right, you will be notified once approved. So now let's do direct modification to it. So change this to 1. All right, so later on we'll see how admin is going to be managing this. So now let's refresh this. Yes, you can see now the seller is approved and we have the form. So the first one is name. So we're also going to work with the other ones. All right, so now let's complete the remaining parts to make sure that the other input also looks fine. So let's go back to the page. In the new here, we already have this particular one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the remaining one. Then we can just copy this and paste it. So this is going to be for description of the product. So the styling is going to be same. So next we are now going to add for the price. So I'm just going to copy this. So form price. All right, so the styling is also going to be same. So the next thing we are going to do, which is going to be the last one in the input, so we are going to have the one for the image field. So let's say image file. So I'm going to copy this and also paste it here. So the styling we are going to use here, when you add this, you can just put comma and you can now put something like this, product image. So the styling, we don't need much things inside, so let's just remove this. We can just put something like text small like this. So these are the only stylings we need. So last we are going to add a button that is for sending the information into the database. So let's open tag, then we'll close the button also like this. So this button will have its own CSS class. So let's add it up here. So here we are going to say save product like this. So that's all on this. Now let's refresh the page. Yes, you can see all the inputs are there. So let's try to create a product. So I'm going to call this text product 1. Description, maybe this is product description. Then the price, we can put something like 10,000. Then the product image, let's select any image and test it. I have this, so I'll just test it out. Let me just come down. So these are different kind of products that I can use. So let me just go with this. So we'll just click on open. So next we'll just click on save product. So here you can see we have requested a non-existence parameter, which is product image directory. So let's check this out to confirm that there's no product, no problem. So we'll come down to the services. This is services.yml. Under the config, we have services here. So you can see we say product images, not just image. There is S inside. This is images. So we need to make some changes here also. So product, then images like this. So now let's refresh. So everything is there. Now let's try to save again. Yes, you can see it automatically gives us the list of the product, which is currently 1. We can check the database in the product. You can see we have 1 product, text, then this description, price, this is the image, then created ad, then the seller ID is 3. That's this particular seller. And after that, when we come to the list of the product, you can see we have the products. This is the image, is just showing test 1. All right, then we have the price. So now let's try to check our code. In the public, we have upload is generated, then you can see product, then we can see the image also is also inside here. All right, that's very good. So now let's see how we can paste the product that is in here. Therefore the product image is going to be showing. So let's go back to the list of the product. So this is it, dashboard, then product. This is the image. We do not add anything in the image. Actually, you can see it's empty. So we are going to add it off now. So this is what we are going to do. In here, we are going to wrap this using this. So we can say asset. We are now referring to our public folder. Then in there, we are going to check for a folder called offload. We have just seen it. Then slash product, then slash. So you use this. So you say product dot image like this. So that's all the things we need. So now let's go back to there and refresh this. You can see this is showing us exactly what we need. All right, so this is the product here. This is the price. So image will be here, then the product will be here. That means the name of the product. So we need to also make some little changes to that. So this is going to be image. Then this is going to be maybe name. Let's say name. That is name of the product. So we can now refresh this. Yes, so you can see this is the price, then status is currently active. So here we have come to the end of this lecture.